All right, remember, you still have time to vote on today's poll question. If you were a baseball GM, what kind of player would you draft tonight? Right now, 92%. Someone who could be in the majors by the end of 2015. Good luck with that. Go to CSNChicago.com to vote. We'll bring you updated results later in the show. All right, so the White Sox pick third, the Cubs pick fourth. So which way will they go? Let's find out. Our insider from the White Sox is Dan Hayes. He joins us on the UPS Store hotline from L.A. All right, they will set the war room up. They will make a pick. What do you think the White Sox do at 3?
It's still all hinging, Cap, right now on what Houston does, and a lot of people don't know what Houston's going to do. It seems like Brady Aiken is the way they will go. I mean, he's the number one prospect out there, a left-handed high school pitcher from San Diego. And if he goes to them, I think that sets off kind of everything, or sets everything in motion, because there's some rumors that they would go with Nick Gordon, Tom Gordon's son, the shortstop from Florida. If they went that way, whichever guy signs for a better deal is what I'm hearing right now. I mean, it could change the draft for everybody. I think that would open up the possibility for Carlos Rodon at 3 for the White Sox if they took Nick Gordon. But if the Astros get Brady Aiken at 1, you think that Rodon goes number 2 to the Marlins, and then the White Sox have to make a choice on, do we go with a future kid like Tyler Kolek, who is 2017, or do we go with LSU Aaron Nola? He's a junior pitcher who probably is somebody that could get up to the majors by the early next season and help them. So they're kind of weighing that debate, but they're also, everybody I think is waiting to see what Houston does. All
right, one more for you. Are the Sox locked into getting a pitcher? We've got to have a pitcher, or just take the best player?
The Sox, I mean, I think that the best pitcher or the best player probably is a pitcher at this point. This is a very heavy draft loaded with pitchers, and the White Sox are comfortable with their middle infield in the minors. They have Micah Johnson on the cusp of the majors. They have Marcus Semien, who they just had to send back down. Obviously, their guys at the major league level are performing and still young enough that they're going to be around for a while. So I think player-wise, they're pretty comfortable. You know, they spent a pick on Courtney Hawkins 2 years ago in the first round. He's an outfielder. So I think that pitching, we're going to see probably 4 pitchers in the first 5 rounds from the White Sox.
Dan, appreciate the knowledge, buddy.
All right, thanks a lot, Cap.
All right, let's move on to the north side. Cubs pick 4th. Let's check in with our Cubs insider from CSNChicago.com, Patrick Mooney's at Wrigley. All right, Moons, you heard what Dan had to say. What do you think the Cubs do? Is there somebody that they're hoping slips to them, or no, they'll take whoever's there?
Well, Cap, the Cubs have kind of been locked away in their rooms, sequestered here at Wrigley, running through all these different scenarios depending on what the Astros do at number 1, and they play things pretty close to the vest. The Miami Marlins at number 2 are a pretty unpredictable organization, and number 3 at the White Sox, one Cubs official was wondering, why did we sweep the White Sox last year? But at this point, I think, if it goes, 3 pitchers up top, then I think you might see them move towards a position player like Mike Conforto, the Oregon State outfielder, guy who gets on base. He's mentally tough, comes from a pretty athletic family. His dad was a linebacker at Penn State. But I think really in kind of reporting the past couple of days, the interesting part is kind of how names have come in and out, of the conversation. That Kyle Schwarber was kind of a name that popped up yesterday, and then by the end of the night, people were saying, no, the Cubs are kind of off it. The Indiana catcher outfielder who doesn't really, it's unclear where he would kind of play on the next level, but he is a really powerful left-handed bat. So the Cubs are kind of anxious, waiting to see what the Astros do, because for 2 years running, they picked behind them and didn't know exactly what they're going to do until the pick was announced on TV.
All right, one more for you. The Landmarks Commission is not going to take up the Cubs' cause right now, but one member of that commission telling the Sun-Times today that she does not want 7 signs. She thinks it's too much. What are you hearing about the renovation plan now?
Well, yeah, the Cubs decided to announce their new radio partnership with CVS today, and that kind of hung over the press conference of where is this heading next? And obviously today was one of those landmark hearings that they didn't get in on. The Cubs are working towards July. They said there's a slim chance that under special circumstances they could maybe get their own hearing, but really at this point the Cubs reiterated that they will not start construction until they get those approvals, and that's a pretty big piece of this puzzle here. So I think that July date, there are a lot of potential delays, and as Cubs fans are pretty familiar with now, it's kind of in that holding pattern. But the Cubs have taken the bullpen doors off the table, that they're willing to keep those Under Armour doors as is, if that's a way to get this thing done and kind of finally moving forward. And then I guess we'll wait to see how the rooftops respond.
Patrick, appreciate the knowledge. We'll see what the Cubs and the White Sox do in about 24 minutes from now. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Cap.
All right, there he is, Patrick Mooney, CSNChicago.com. Cubs insider, Dan Hayes, our White Sox insider. All right, let's talk about the landmark committee that did not take up the Cubs' cause today. They may take it up in a special session. Maybe it will push all the way into July. Okay, I want to know why. I think it's Mary Ann Smith, the alderwoman who's on the committee. I don't care that Mary Ann Smith thinks it's too many signs.
I know. Isn't there a statue they could worry about, or some sort of lion somewhere that they're busy with?
You told me they're getting
real people.
Getting rid of the ivy. Okay, that's landmarked. I get it. They want the marquee. Don't tell me about the signs that you think it damages the view inside. I don't care.
It was much more interesting when Tom Tunney was just up everybody's butt for a while.
Everybody.
That was great. Isn't this more about the mayor, Rahm Emanuel, who the Cubs, when they came out with the big video message, they kind of assumed that they would be able to push this through the Landmarks Commission this week, that everything was going to be cool. And I think Rahm was a little bit taken aback, and he said, "Look at my muscle right here." I mean, I think this will go through.
Well, that's what it's about. It's about control. Who has control over what?
And I think this will go through as is. But I think
look at that muscle right there.
There it is. I think this is Rahm just saying, hey, just let's cool it right now for a second. Let's cool it for a second, and then we're going to let it go through. But let me act like I'm deciding on this before it happens.
Yeah, it's almost like they just want to make it tough on the Cubs and make them work for it and sweat a little bit. Although I will say, kind of agree with the mayor, the whole bullpen thing, I don't think that's just something to be argumentative about. To me, that's actually an issue.
What, to move the bullpen?
To move the bullpens. I think
that's one of the coolest things about
Hold on a second. They have no say in whether they move the bullpen. None.
Right, but I think that's a legitimate point of contention.
Why?
I guess.
Yeah.
Because I think the bullpens on the sidelines of Wrigley Field are part of Wrigley Field.
Yeah, Mark's right.
Stop.
Mark's right. Otherwise, it becomes like everywhere else.
No, you don't. The idea is
the ivy and the bullpens. What else is there other than bad toilets at Wrigley Field?
So you've heard people when do people ever romanticize the bullpens?
A lot. If you sit down there, it's really cool to have that.
But I don't think they have to romanticize it for it to be a part of the romance.
It's great
of
if you're stealing a Dodgers hat.
All right, if you're drunk, it gives you something to lean over and do. But no, it is
such garbage.
I'll give you. It's part of Wrigley
bullpens and put them on Waveland and Sheffield. I don't care.
And raise the place and just build a new one.
You know something? I agree with Peter. If you're going to go to an extent.
Yes, I was going to say that was odd.
One thing is going to lead to another here. You know, the bullpens now, and then something else, and something else. This is not going to be Wrigley Field as a 55-year-old Chicago Cub fan, know it. And if they're going to go that far and they want to make it that much different, go.
Yeah.
You know, start over. If you think if you think Wrigley Field is a big detriment to your winning, and all this tradition, the idea of getting away from tradition just to get away from, if you think that's a detriment to your winning, by God, move, get out, go, just do whatever you have to win. Ball games.
The bullpens?
No, because you have the bullpens, you have the scoreboard, and you have the ivy. Outside of that, outside of Chicago, why is Wrigley Field famous?
Okay,
for those three things.
But I got to tell you,
Not
still,
the bullpens.
I'm going to go back to it. Honestly, I have never, you guys are the first people I've heard ever say, a part of why you go to Wrigley Field is because the bullpens
that's
are
not
so
part of
close.
why. I didn't say it's a part of
still
why
selling beer, aren't they? So it's fine.
I'll give you the ivy. I'll even give you the scoreboard, but the bullpen, I mean, never.
It's unique. It's one of the unique features of Wrigley Field. It's what keeps it unique.
I don't care.
Otherwise, it's Riverfront Stadium. Make them all the same.
No. If you still have ivy, the scoreboard,
and a losing
all of
team,
that,
and you're good to go.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty girls.
But the question is, Dave, what
bullpen?
next? What's next? And they're
Who cares?
altering.
It's not.
They're altering Wrigley. My point is, they're altering Wrigley Field to such an extent that it's not. To me, it's not going to be Wrigley Field, and that means something to me. Maybe
people in New York freaked out when they were knocking down the house that Ruth built. Now they've got the nicest stadium going.
And no one goes.
And
They made seats that no one could afford because of progress.
But
because
they've got a
more money.
gorgeous stadium. People freak. You can't knock down Yankee Stadium. Oh my God, really? Really?
Well, no, it's like Fenway
They still
Park,
spend money. They still have a beautiful
upgrade
stadium.
is fine, but you're not going to take away the green monster. You're not going to take away the pesky pole. You're not going to take. Those are certain things that are legendary.
The bullpens are not legendary.
They are. They're the only things that are. They're the only team that has that. It's really cool.
Dave, I just think that's I guess my original point was that's a bigger point of contention than 7 signs instead of 6 or 8 or 9, whatever it is. To me, that's nitpicking. What I'm saying is the bullpen thing, to me, that can be a legitimate issue. Whether you agree with it or not is immaterial.
I'm
saying
for
this argument that's a much bigger point of contention on the part of the mayor than somebody who wants.
Mark's right. It changes the look of Wrigley Field. If you're going to change the look, then really change it. Don't half and half.
So you guys think the alderman or the mayor are the people? So you think Rob is sitting there going, "No, I gotta have my bullpens." He doesn't know. He doesn't care. This is about him. Just make him wait.
This is him flexing his muscle.
Look at this right here, and we're gonna make you sweat.
I'll approve that when I'm ready.
Exactly. Everything's gonna go as planned.
But it would be a mistake if they approve that.
Disagree.
You guys can't handle a Wrigley Field without the bullpen.
No.
Yeah. Wow. 48 hours from now, horse racing's longest Triple Crown drought could be over. California Chrome looks to end a 36-year wait Saturday at the Belmont. Hawthorne Racecourse's Jim Miller will join us to handicap CC's Race with Destiny.